This is the most expensive bowl of noodles you'll find in the entire country of Vietnam.
What is in there, a whole cow?
We're gonna be comparing it to Saigon's most expensive street-side noodle shop.
This is like a seafood buffet.
A place that shocked locals with its surprisingly high prices. Is this actually worth $14? But first, this country's absolutely cheapest bowl of noodles. You are selling noodles for 20 cents a bowl. It hardly seems like it would even pay for the cost of the food itself. Meet Kim Long. She's running a street-side restaurant that remarkably charges patrons only 20 cents per meal.
Mình cũng là từ người khó khăn mình đi lên.
Because she grew up so poor, she knows how to save $1. Now, she's never asked for any donations, but for the good gracious of people, some would give rice, some would give seasoning, some would give vegetables.
What's more amazing than her rock-bottom prices is that every day she prepares a completely different menu. Today you're serving a classic dish, but the vegan version of that. The Vietnamese dish Bún Thịt Nướng is a national noodle sensation, traditionally featuring several different types of meat. I've had Bún Thịt Nướng before, I love it. There's big, succulent, juicy pieces of pork. Not only does Miss Kim Lam create a vegan version of this dish that sells 450 portions per hour, she does so at an astonishing price of only 20 cents. That's the price of a small bag of peanuts. But why would she take on such an impossible mission?
Mình đã từng ăn những cái phần ăn từ thiện.
Her mother-in-law had cancer, and so she lived in the hospital, and with the charity of others, she found the goodness of giving.
Amidst her heart-wrenching family struggles and financial strain, the daily charity meals provided by hospital donors became her lifeline.
And she's happy to say that 13 years later, her mother-in-law has no cancer.
Now, with stability in both family and finance, she's opened 3 restaurants, providing affordable meals to those in need.
She wants us to give one person one meal a day to get them to carry on in their life.
With her own efforts and immense community support, she's sustained her restaurant for the past 4 years, drawing in crowds of hundreds each day. And today, at this branch, Calvin and I are ordering a bowl of vegan Bún Thịt Nướng. It starts with a base of bounty rice noodles, then fresh vegetables. Now comes the first quote-unquote meat, plant-based pork ribs. What is it made out of?
Đạm đậu nành thì cái đó.
It's made of soy gluten. The way she does it, it almost tastes like meat.
After the soy ribs are fried, they're marinated in a mixture of soy sauce, sugar, chasu sauce, and 5-spice powder. Then they're fried once more until its density resembles real pork. Now let's introduce the pork's co-stars, spring rolls filled with shredded taro, sweet potato, and mushrooms instead of minced pork.
You can't even get a Big Mac for 20 cents.
You can't get a small Mac for 20 cents. Then there's shredded pork skin, crafted from fried cassava, vegan meatloaf, and seasoned glass noodles. All of this is accompanied by pickled carrot and white radish, scallions, chilies, crushed peanuts, and the essence of Bún Thịt Nướng, fish sauce, created by boiling salt, sugar, coconut, food coloring, and vinegar. But how will this 20-cent vegan Bún Thịt Nướng compare to its meat-filled counterpart that costs 10 times more? Time to find out. If you're eating a typical bowl of Bún Thịt Nướng, you would have fish sauce. It's hard to take the fish out of fish sauce and have it taste like something that is even close to it.
Drizzle clockwise.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
There's one part of this that I'm really curious about, which is the beef. Now, beef is pig skin that they boiled and shred. But here, Sonny, it looks just like its meat counterpart. If you didn't know what that really was, you might even think that was beef.
With the texture, she's pretty darn close. It has that nice chewiness to it. It's stringy.
Next, let's try the egg roll.
I mean, I love that it's fried. Definitely there's a slight variation in taste, but dude, that is delicious.
That is delicious.
Nice crunch on the outside, a little bit of starch on the inside.
It's full of flavor, full of umami.
Last, we have the final protein, porky component. Typically, Bún Thịt Nướng is all about that incredible, immaculate roasted pork that's just been dripping over charcoal.
Sonny, I've had over 100 bowls of Bún Thịt Nướng in my lifetime. This stands up to one of the best bowls of Bún Thịt Nướng I've ever had. Full of flavor, full of crunch. It's really good. And all those ingredients, all the textures, you don't even miss the meat.
No, man, she nailed it with that fish sauce. That really saturates all these noodles, and then any other little mock meat replacement really blends in with the rest of the flavors. This is quite outstanding. Oh, my God, she is delivering. This isn't amazing for 20 cents, it's just amazing, period.
Agreed.
So from here, we're gonna be trying the most expensive street side noodles that you can find in Saigon.
Almost like an oxymoron. Expensive and street food? How do they go together?
we've arrived at an infamous alleyway
This is literally between two houses.
where Miss Loang has been selling her noodles at a price so high, she ended up sparking a social media backlash.
But yet people will go across the city to try these bowl of noodles.
We're gonna find out why, in spite of the price, people keep coming back. Now, before we get into the price, I want to break down exactly what you're selling here. It's a noodle called Banh Can Cua. Banh Can Cua is a traditional Vietnamese dish, especially cherished in coastal areas.
Bánh Can Cua is a tapioca-based noodle made with seafood and pork.
Okay, so that's the essence of it. It's really all about the seafood. Now, the big question on my mind is, if I go most places around Saigon, I could find this dish for $1 or $2. But here you're selling it for $14. How do you get to that price?
Cái nghề của này 36 năm.
She has been selling Bánh Can Cua for over 36 years. What drives her is that perfection.
Tôi muốn rằng khách của tôi ăn cái món này để rồi đi ra khỏi chỗ này nhớ tới bánh canh cua, nhớ tới bà già này.
The Banh Can Cua starts with a meticulously crafted broth made from 15 pounds of chicken, 15 pounds of pork feet, 7 pounds of fish, 9 pounds of shrimp, and 18 pounds of crab roe. Now that is an impressive array of flavors. Following, she prepares the addictive fresh Banh Can toppings, including thick, succulent crab claws. My understanding is that when some locals saw your prices here and that they were higher than everywhere else, that you faced backlash.
The press came in. Other bloggers came down. They tried to run her name through the dirt.
Can you talk about how you dealt with it?
Tôi không quan tâm ai nói cái gì. Mà tôi đang quan tâm tôi đang làm cái gì. Okay.
She begins by dipping the bouncy tapioca noodles in her flavorful broth and placing them in the bowl. Next, she piles on the proteins. Crab claws, shredded crab meat, pork trotter, sliced pork, and shrimp are dipped into the broth and added to the noodles. Elevate the bowl further with the addition of fried fish cakes and savory blood cakes. Now it's time to see for ourselves if Miss Loang's creation truly lives up to its price. This is a load of food here.
This is like a seafood buffet.
I am seeing the longest blood cake I've ever seen in my life. Good blood cake. I like the taste of this. It is soft. You know, it's like a flan.
See, when I look at it, I want it to be chocolatey. But when you bite into it, it is everything but.
It's got a great savoriness to it. I enjoy it.
These noodles are so slippery. They're like worms.
You gotta get your face down here.
This is probably one of my favorite noodles in all of noodle soups. Those noodles are so fresh. They soak up all that flavor in the broth.
It's like broth exploding out of the noodles.
This broth is so complex.
It's thick, viscous, savory, with a nice touch of seafood essence in there.
As the Japanese have tonkatsu, the Vietnamese have this really beautiful blend of sea and land.
This thing is jam-packed with value. There's tons of protein and high-price items. Let's try some of this crab claw.
Cheers. Dude. Whoa.
Oh, that's nice. This is beautiful. Oh, look at this. This is just like knuckle meat from the crab.
Sonny, there is probably half a pound of crab just in this bowl.
The more I dig in here, the more seafood I'm finding. Is this actually worth $14? I would have to say yes.
And I would say the same thing.
What inspired you to make a bowl this expensive?
Khi chồng tôi buông tay một cái á, tôi có 3 đứa con.
She remembers the time when her 3 kids were still young. What pushed her to become a successful entrepreneur was to give them every opportunity that she could because of what she's been able to sell here. She's been able to allow her daughter to go overseas to Paris to learn how to be a chef. The quality of what's in the dish does not translate to the location of it. Eating this in a restaurant in San Francisco could run you upwards of $100.
So instead of people seeing this as expensive street food, they should look at it like discount 5-star food. This is fantastic, but next we're gonna be trying a bowl of noodles that costs over $160.
What?
Gentlemen, today we have come here to Landmark 81, the tallest building in Vietnam and the second tallest building in all of Southeast Asia. Here on floor 66, inside the Oriental Pearl, we are going to be trying the most expensive bowl of noodles you can find in this country.
How expensive are we talking about here?
Traditional pho bo is an iconic Vietnamese soup consisting of rice noodles, beef, and a complex aromatic savory beef bone broth. It's found everywhere throughout Vietnam, typically costing $2 to $3 per bowl. So that is our benchmark. Just so you can understand how outrageous it is that Chef Le Chung charges $164 USD.
What is in there, a whole cow?
Meet the extravagant, limited edition pho known here as
Pho King.
Okay.
While it doesn't contain a whole cow, it features several of the world's most revered and expensive ingredients. Let's get into the making of this dish. This bankrupting pho starts with a foundational broth, critical to the quality of this noodle dish.
I wanted to have it intense. You will get rich flavors from oxtail, from big chunks of shin bones, and then in that we put chicken bones as well. We put chicken feet even to give it the gelatinous. We put this on high heat for 3 hours. Then we leave that to simmer for 48 hours. I am a pho lover. I wanted to make this pho to be able to put on hotel's table and for the guests to get a higher step of enjoying the pho.
What are some of the ingredients you're putting into this bowl that you wouldn't find on any sidewalk pho?
Actually, my way of cooking pho is I don't put too much complicated stuff into it. Foie gras, because it's fat and sweet and it will go well with the broth.
This high-end fatty duck liver is lightly seared then baked in the oven. Then there's the absolute greatest beef on earth.
For the rare beef, we put Wagyu, not just any Wagyu, A5.
As if that wasn't enough, they add a massive short rib flavored with grilled onions, grilled ginger, pepper, salt, star anise, cinnamon, pho broth, and duck fat.
The duck fat will sweep inside the meat and it's kind of beefy, gamey. Then after that, we put truffle to put earthiness.
That smells like money.
That just shrank my brain tumor. To serve, the bowl is assembled with pho noodles, a short rib, and herbs. Then it's brought to the table, awaiting its final steps. Let's see if the Pho King justifies its astronomical $163 price tag, and if it can hold its own as a successor to the OG pho.
So here we have Wagyu A5 Kagoshima.
Oh my gosh. Sonny, look at the marbling on that meat. It is almost as fat as you are.
Then we continue with the gold leaf, and one is not enough, so we put the second one. Then we'll continue with seared foie gras.
Oh my God. Now, growing up in Minnesota, have you ever thought that you would be eating truffle in your life?
Absolutely not.
So when we pour the hot broth, it almost becomes very magical, the smell of it.
Calvin, it's like a spa treatment.
I've never been served pho in such a grand manner before.
You think they're finished. They are, in fact, not finished.
What is that?
This is the most gigantic pepper mill I've ever seen in my life. You gotta be careful around this thing. Don't stick anything in there. Our bowl is finally complete. Let's eat. So, the first thing we should be trying is the broth.
Oh my God.
Wow, it's like a consommé.
Add the truffle to the broth.
That's exquisite. It's super aromatic.
Super earthy.
From here, we have a giant piece of foie gras.
This is gonna be a bite of a lifetime.
Oh, it's so soft, incredibly rich, bold.
It's irony, it's gritty.
But it pairs surprisingly well with everything in that bowl. We've got our partially cooked A5 Wagyu, the most expensive of all the Wagyus, the highest rated. Let's go for it. Transcendent. There's a perfect ratio of fat to protein.
It just melts on my tongue. It's almost just a transcendent, didn't you? There's something calling my name right now, and that is the noodles.
Now, this arguably is the most inexpensive part of the dish.
The pho noodles have soaked up a beautiful broth. Now, this family is from the north. They've been making noodles here in Saigon for over 30 years.
There is a giant piece of beef in our bowl that we've yet to sink our teeth into. That is rich.
The chef braised it beautifully. Sonny, I'll be honest. I really want to hate this bowl of pho.
It's fun to be cynical.
It is over the top. There are ingredients that shouldn't go together, but this bowl right here truly shows the technique and the excellency of chef.
Some locals in Vietnam will only consider the classically made pho to be truly authentic. But for me, I find merit in taking this iconic dish to its highest potential, elevating it to the status of fine dining. I think this is something that should be celebrated.
I'm really proud to see Vietnamese food not only be cheap, but also expensive.
On the streets, you can get a delicious bowl of noodles for way less than $1, or you can come to a place like this and still have a resounding, incredible experience for a lot more money. That being said, there is one thing left to do, and that is deciding which bowl of the 3 that we ate today gave us the most bang for our buck.
The best bang for my buck, or actually your buck, has to be the bánh canh cua. Everything about that bowl is an experience waiting to happen. Sunny, what about you?
My most bang for my buck in this video would have to be the vegetarian thit nuong. For a meal that cost 20 cents, it was like a 10 out of 10.
Actually today, all the noodles were great.
I'm very impressed to see what you can find in this city. From the very, very cheap to the prohibitively expensive, there are a lot of people out there making great works of art inside a bowl
Of noodles.
Elevate your style with our brand new clothing collection. Rock out in our threads, feel the thrill of culinary adventures, and celebrate with us in style. Head on over to BEFRS.shop today. It's super aromatic, like smelling gasoline, but delicious.
Were you a little high when you made that bowl?
Nhìn vô là không biết là đồ chay.
So visually, it's a match. It's like we're gonna be catfished by this bowl of noodles.
I'm gonna be swiping right. I don't know the last time I had one dish that was over $164.
Yeah, I do.
That is probably the most cheapest item on the bowl. That's a piece of bread.
Well, my white trash intuition led me to this. It's my understanding that this is not part of your regular menu. Why is that?
Partly because I think if we do this too often, it will lose its effect.
He sounds like a drug dealer. Boom, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to say a huge thank you to Calvin here for joining me today. You can find Calvin at FKN Deliciousness on YouTube and Instagram. Go find him, give him a follow and experience his fun food adventures in Vietnam and beyond. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Let's cross the street. I bet we can do it. I bet we can do it. Oh my God, I would have gone this way. I win.